Next review is Samaritan. So Samaritan is a movie starring Sylvester Stallone, also on Amazon Prime. Sylvester Stallone plays a retired a retired hero, and you see him kind of in this kind of world that's in disarray. Crime is up, going through the roof as they announce it on the news. People are robbing, looting, stealing, murdering, killing, all that good stuff. And the city's basically gone to wreck ever since he's been in retirement. You have this young boy here who still believes in this superhero that he can come back and save the city. The young boy who's played by Javon Walton, who people might know he was Ashtray and Euphoria. That we also reviewed for the show, and he's here. His mother, who's Danasha Polanco, who people might know she was in Orange is the New Black. You also have, it's funny, more Game of Thrones connections because the main villain of this is also from Game of Thrones. He played one of the bad guys in that show. I forgot his character's name.
He was Euron Greyjoy, and that is what I will call him because I cannot for the life of me pronounce his name.
It's
very Nordic.
Yeah, Pilo Askabek. Maybe.
Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah, it's kind of him. So he's like the main villain of this. With this movie, I think the big thing about it is it's just the definition of the word generic in every sense of the word. It almost feels like one of those superhero movies that you remember, I think it was like the early 2000s when everybody was really trying to jump on that superhero craze, and they were making movies like Jumper, and making movies like off-brand superhero movies and everything like that. Even though
the golden age of like non-comic book superhero movies, stuff like Push, Jumper,
yeah.
Or I'm pretty sure there was another one that also starred a generic handsome white guy.
Yeah. So you it feels like that. You had like kind of those generic kind of superhero, movies trying to cash in on the trend. Even though that this movie, it is based on a graphic novel. There is a graphic novel called Samaritan that is out there. So it is based on a work already. And how he kind of gets involved is, kid's getting his ass beat. And then, of course he kind of comes out, kind of sees, things just keep getting worse and worse. And finally he just takes action. And then with the kid, and, that's even, common relationship, like the kid who, it's like, hey, he's helping him, rediscover what it means to be a hero again and kind of come out and kind of help people. And you kind of see that here. Like I said, I mean, there's really just, it's very just generic in every sense of the word and kind of the tone of it, the look of it, the style of it. Sylvester Stallone, who's like this garbage man who, takes this, these materials out of the garbage and fixes them, even though it doesn't really even do anything with his character. It's just like to give him, I guess, somewhat of a personality trait, other than gruff old man.
I think everything about this movie, it's just pulled from other much better movies. Like the entire dynamic between like Sly's character and Javon Walton, it's basically the Karate Kid almost. The entire city, it's basically RoboCop's Detroit. The villain is like James Franco from Spring Breakers almost.
Yeah.
And I think even though Sly is good in this, he's fine. He's like one step below sleepwalking through this for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's he's just kind of lumbering his way kind of through, a lot of these scenes. And I should have probably put on subtitles with this.
This performance in this movie is what I thought we were going to get from him from Creed.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like there's not really much energy here. He's kind of, like I said, he is kind of sleepwalking through it. And a lot of stuff he's doing, it's, not really anything kind of here. It's like, I'm just kind of here, not really much energy. I don't even think his relationship with the kid is all that good. I think usually that can be kind of a saving grace.
Same, and I think an issue with that is how Javon Walton plays this, because You look at the kid, look at him as Ashtray, and even on season 3 of the Umbrella Academy, he's a young kid, but almost every character he plays, where he excels at, most of the characters he plays has a little bit of an edge to them. Here, I think he plays it too much like a goody two shoes, where it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
he's like playing it a little. He's playing it a little too innocently, which I think doesn't really fit this kind of film.
Yeah, and him falling into like with the gang of like with the main villain. As we talk, the main villain is also nothing memorable, nothing special. Like with his henchmen, you got one of his henchmen is who's kind of Takashi 6ix9ine, and they bully the kid and
He's
everything.
bas- he's basically Lil Pump for
Lil
the
Pump,
worst way.
yeah. Kind of like he had a failed career as a SoundCloud rapper. Now he's, you know what I mean. Now he's doing crime exclusively. A lot of that element is like, okay, you're
He's
gonna have the
he's basically the dude that like told a joke and then somebody else told it better. Somebody else also told it and they got bigger laughs. It's basically him and Lil Pump.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just pretty much all that stuff with him and them bullying the kid, and classic. You got to have a main character who's a kid who gets bullied. So, hey, you got to feel a little bit of sympathy for the kid, and everything like that here.
The entire time I was like, motherfucker, ain't you a grown ass man? Why are you fucking with this 10-year-old kid?
Was he supposed to be a grown? Was he supposed to be grown? I thought he was supposed to be like, I don't know. Maybe I thought they were supposed to be teenagers. I don't know. Maybe that's
All right,
the
to quote Will Smith in Bad Boys 2, shit, you at least 30.
I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking I don't know how old those people were. I was thinking maybe they're teenage, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're just kind of like, okay, henchmen, cackling henchmen that they're working for the villain. The villain, his motivation is not all that clear because at one moment because he's a big fan because like
He,
the
he he's like selling himself as a man of the people, and yet his first act is to just throw a brick through a mom and pop shop's window.
Yeah, because he's a big fan of Nemesis. Because like the story opens with this story of telling of these two people, of a villain named Nemesis and a hero named Samaritan, and both of them, one was kept the city safe, and the other one was destroyed the city and was vengeful. And he's like, but I'm a fan. The main guy, bad guy here, Urian Greyjoy, is a fan of Nemesis, but the little boy, he's a fan of Samaritan, and they kind of have a conversation about it. He's like, I like Nemesis because he was a man of the people and he was, misunderstood, and he fought for the downtrodden. And it's like, I don't know how, but how does that relate to what you're doing? Because you're just a straight criminal. Um, how are you helping the downtrodden? Like, that doesn't really make sense. Um,
Yeah, this script felt like it needed a pass from like an Eric Kripke, because I feel like he could have taken this kind of generic concept and actually fleshed out a little bit more. Because I on a surface level, I kind of get what this movie's going for. It's trying to do like the classic story of the retired, like disillusioned superhero discovering what it means to do good again. And everything in this, none of it's really set up. Everything just kind of happens.
what do you mean? Like everything just kind of happens? What do you mean?
It's like it happens just because script calls for it, and not because characters are like given reason to do it, but outside of plot needs to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of like what's all that particularly that good about it. You know what I mean? Or maybe name something that's kind of decent about the movie. I don't think anything character wise here is that good. I mean, even the like. I think there's some good actors here. Like I've seen, like I said, the Javon Walter guy, a kid. He's a good actor. I think he is. He can be a very good actor. Euron Greyjoy can be a very good actor. Sloane can be a good actor. The mother character, she can be very good. The woman who played the mother, she can be very good. I've seen her. It's just that I don't think there's really not much here besides the generic restraints of the script that's allowing for anything more. If you are going to have something as generic as this story, at least have a personality with some of the characters, and like at least have the core of this movie, the relationship between him and the boy, Sly and the boy, that also has to be really good, and I don't think it is in really any sense. So I mean, for me, I'd give it a I think I just give it a skip it. I think you can find much better stuff to watch on Amazon Prime. Honestly, like I don't think this is worth any of your time. And yeah, even as just a fun action movie, just something to watch. Eh, I mean, it's just okay. I mean, he's doing a lot of like okay, hitting people and they're flying, and it's like okay, it's not all that interesting. So I just give it a skip it for me.
Yeah, yeah. Towards the third act, they do a lot more with the action, where they use a lot more interesting cinematography. Like they do a lot of like close cuts on it. They do a lot of long takes with some of the action, and it looks good. It just takes way too long to get there, and I don't think this script really does anything outside of just being a surface level. Hey, yeah, this retired superhero, he like has a relationship with this kid, and all of a sudden he wants to do good again, and it's it's just kind of bland. It's like everything good about this movie is pulled from other sources, which can be fine as long as you do something interesting or have at least some semblance of personality with it. And this film just doesn't.
Mm,
It's like this is the definition of a skip it movie.
yeah, just kind of lame on all fronts there. So two skip it's for